What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Redditgoss. On this channel, we read and react to the juiciest stories Reddit has to offer. Today, we'll be discussing stories from the subreddit r/Am I the Asshole. All relevant links will be posted in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, y'all, so I'm back again with another interesting story from Am I the Asshole? So let's see what's up. Am I the asshole for closing my open adoption? I'm 16-year-old male, adopted, and my parents had an open adoption with my birth parents since I was born. When I was younger, it was never really used. My birth parents just wanted the option there. It took them having another kid when I was 9 to change what they wanted, and by then, I really didn't want them coming around acting like they were my family. They ignored me for 9 years. Literally no contact at all, even when my parents reached out, which my parents didn't even tell me. I just heard them talk about it one night. Then, all of a sudden, I meant to think of them as 2 more parents and their daughter as a younger sister. I always saw my family as my parents, the ones raising me, and my siblings, their bio kids, and my other adopted sibling. I'm not their brother and son by blood, but I know they all love me and I love them just as much. They have always been really accepting of me, and I'm gay. People knew I was gay when I was still really little. I knew I was gay when I was young and thought boys were cute instead of girls. They were always so supportive and loving about it. They've been amazing parents throughout some tricky stuff. I remember a few months after my birth parents decided they wanted to use the open part of my adoption, I told my parents I didn't want to see them or their daughter. We talked about it. My parents felt bad about saying no, so they told me they would try to make it less stressful for me, but they encouraged me to maintain a relationship, and they also took me to a therapist so I could talk things through with them. The therapist told them to absolutely never stop contact because I say so as a kid, that I don't know the benefits and what's best for me. My birth parents even tried to reverse the adoption at one point, and it was so messy, but my parents still let them come for visits after that. I just never connected with my bio relatives. I don't feel like they're my family, and I always hated contact with them. Seeing them keeps me awake at night with stress instead of excitement. My birth parents' 2 oldest kids, 7 and 5, are super clingy with me too, and call me their brother and get annoyed and are mean to my siblings because I'm living with them and close to them. My birth parents would try to get me to spend time with just them and their kids at their house and to stay with them, but I always said no, and my parents backed me. I switched therapists recently, and my therapist now is someone I'm way happier with, and their advice changed to my parents. They said ending contact if I still feel the same, even stronger really, means they should listen. So my parents and I talked about it more, and they agreed with it. They apologized for resisting, but they said all the advice is always to maintain that relationship as much as possible, and I get why they did it. But I'm so glad contact is ended. My birth parents are really angry though. They tried to message me before I blocked them on socials. Their messages were saying how cruel it was to cut them out of my life. But in the weirdest move, they sent a video to my older brother and sister of their kids crying and asking why they can't see me anymore. Am I the asshole? This is a crazy situation. I've never thought about instances where the adoptive child does not want contact with their bio parents. But I can understand why he feels like, what's the point of you guys coming around 9 years into my life and then trying to make it seem like no time has been lost? I can only imagine the level of stress that could cause him when they're trying to push their already established family onto him and just expect him to be as excited as they are. It sounds like the bio parents probably went about this all wrong. I am glad that his adoptive parents support him and let him change his therapist and took the new therapist advice, because children do matter. They are their own persons. They have their own thoughts, needs, wants, wishes, and I'm glad they're there to support him. Sounds like this little guy is in a great home. So Let's see what the comments are saying. Pink LOL says, not the a-hole. Your bio parents ignored you for years, then tried to force a bond. Sending that crying video was manipulative. Your boundaries are valid. Focus on the family that truly supports you. Absolutely, that was a very weird move and very manipulative to send that video of the little ones crying. Super manipulative. And they probably should have approached the blending of families differently with the littles too, because they had no idea if the adoptive child wanted anything to do with them, and for them to get their little baby's hopes up that they're going to have a big brother was very haphazard. Bulbasaur Ranch says, you should report the first therapist to the governing board they fall into. They dismissed your concerns and basically told you that you are too stupid to know what you want. That person should not be working with kids. OP responded and said, the therapist came from an adoption group and they won't do anything about it. That's sort of the big advice most adoption places around us give. They strongly encourage keeping that contact no matter what. Bulbasaurus Ranch responds and says, yeah, not the adoption group they came from. You report them to the College of Registered Psychotherapists. That's what it would be where I'm from. You'd have to look into your province, state, whatever. This person is unfit to, quote unquote, treat people of your age and circumstances. Basically, the organization is advocating for the people who left you, not for the kids like you. That's not acceptable. OP responds and says, I'm not sure this is something that you can report them from here. This is so common that I think it's just an accepted way of doing things, even if it sucks. Let's look for a couple more. Emotional Analyst says, not the a-hole at all, but I'm glad you as an adopted kid are posting about this, because I don't know if you watch the show Teen Mom. Anytime a YouTuber I follow talks about one of the couples that gave their daughter up for adoption, I always say the parents who adopted the child are going off of what their child wants. So I just want to say thank you for sharing your perspective, and again, not the a-hole. I'm glad your parents are listening to you. I had the same exact thoughts of Tyler and Caitlin from Teen Mom and their oldest baby, Carly. They had open adoption from the get-go when they delivered, when they were, 16, 17 years old. And then slowly the adoptive parents kind of started reneging and keeping Carly away from them and not allowing us open communication as they agreed on. They would be like missing appointments that they had for meetups because they didn't want Carly in the media. However, Caitlin and Tyler, when they're filming the show, they were hoping to involve the story of their reuniting with Carly. So I definitely had this same exact thought, and it made me wonder, does Carly, is she the one pulling the strings, not wanting to see her parents? So it'll be interesting to see, because I believe Carly will be 18 in about 2 years. So if you're a Teen Mom follower, drop in the comments. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about and your opinion on that whole situation. Bug says, they are serving the parents at the expense of the kids. That group is not ethical and should not be trusted. Fortunately, they're not the ones you report professional misconduct to. That will be the licensing/regulatory body of your state or county. A therapist who dismisses, invalidates, or infantilizes their clients, including minors, is abusing their power and has no place in the profession. That person broke your trust when they gave advice that was not in your interest. Sorta Sticky says, think about all the kids they have an opportunity to do the same thing that they did to you. Makes it even more important to get them removed. Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like Reddit has dubbed this person not the a-hole. So that's all we have for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subbing and hitting the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. I'll see you next time. Bye.